Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt, just overwhelmed by some of these really dense, ancient texts, wishing someone could just hand you the shortcut, the key to understanding the profound wisdom locked inside, the kind of wisdom that, well, genuinely shifts your perspective, helps you navigate the sheer complexity of modern life? Well, today, we're doing exactly that. We are diving deep into a text that's often revered, actually, as the master key to Vedantic philosophy, a work that's profoundly shaped centuries of thought and spiritual practice. We're talking about the Brahma Sutra. It's a foundational text, really a critical pillar in Vedantic philosophy. It's widely seen as providing the rigorous reasoning and logic behind the Upanishads, those ancient, super profound dialogues that form the philosophical heart of the Vedas. And this isn't just any text, it's a crucial part of what's known as the Prasthana-trayan. There's a trio of essential scriptures that any serious student of Vedanta really needs to engage with for complete understanding.
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how these ancient aphorisms, these statements born millennia ago, offer a logical framework that is surprisingly remarkably applicable to how you navigate information and belief systems even today. So our mission in this deep dive is really to demystify this profound text. We're going to break down its core meanings, try to explain them in clear layman's terms. We'll explore its critical insights, by contrasting them with other philosophical viewpoints, maybe exposing some underlying assumptions that might challenge our modern ways of thinking, and ultimately reveal its surprising and I think enduring relevance to your own life, your own intellectual journey.
Right. And to guide us through this, well, pretty intricate landscape, our sources today are carefully selected excerpts from the Brahma Sutra, Vedanta's logical framework. This particular work offers a really beautifully structured understanding of this complex ancient text. And our goal really is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge and insights specifically for you, our listener, so you can feel truly well informed, equipped with a deeper understanding without having to wade through pages and pages of dense academic prose or obscure interpretations. Okay, so let's embark on this journey by understanding what the Brahma Sutra actually is. At its very core, yes, it's a fundamental text in Vedantic philosophy, but to really grasp its significance, we need to place it within its traditional context, that Prasthana-trayan we just mentioned. Imagine this trio of three foundational pillars holding up a magnificent temple, right? Each one supports the structure in a unique, absolutely indispensable way. If any one pillar is weak or maybe missing, the whole edifice of understanding just becomes unstable. So the first pillar is the Upanishads. These are known as the Shruti Prasthanam. Now, Shruti literally means that which is heard. It implies revealed wisdom, direct, unmediated spiritual insights into the nature of reality. These are the primary revelations, often poetic, sometimes, frankly, a bit enigmatic, and always deeply profound, are like the initial spark of truth.
That's a great way to put it, the initial spark.
Then the second pillar is the Bhagavad Gita. This is the Smriti Prasthanam, or the remembered tradition. Think of it as a beautiful, much more accessible synthesis of Vedic thought, presented as a practical dialogue on a battlefield, of all places. It helps us remember and actually apply those often abstract Shruti teachings in our daily lives, in the middle of our own struggles and dilemmas. It's kind of the practical manual for living.
With practical application, yeah.
And finally, we arrive at our focus today, the Brahma Sutra. This holds the position of the Nyaya Prasthanam. Nyaya signifies logic, reasoning, systematic inquiry. So its essential job, its entire purpose, is to provide the systematic reasoning and the logical framework needed to firmly establish those profound teachings found within the Upanishads. It takes those beautiful, sometimes allegorical revelations and gives them a rock-solid, rational foundation, ensuring they can withstand intellectual scrutiny. It's the intellectual scaffolding, as you said, that supports the entire structure of Vedantic thought.
Precisely. It's the intellectual backbone, ensuring coherence and rigorous understanding. The Brahma Sutra was authored by Vyasacharya, also reverently known as Badarayana. And when we say authored, it really evokes an image of a master craftsman meticulously carving incredibly dense meaning into the fewest possible strokes, The text itself is comprised of a remarkably concise 555 aphorisms or sutras. These aren't lengthy discourses, not at all. They're brief, almost enigmatic statements designed to be intensely memorable and to encapsulate the vastness of Vedantic teachings, especially concerning Brahman, the ultimate all-pervading reality. Their brevity makes them profound, absolutely, but It also necessitates careful interpretation, as we'll definitely discuss later.
535, it's quite something.
It really is. And the structure itself is, well, a marvel of ancient organization. It's built like a grand, meticulously planned library. Imagine 4 main wings or chapters called adhyayas, each one dedicated to exploring a different major aspect of this profound wisdom. Within each of these main chapters, there are 4 smaller interconnected sections known as padas. This gives us a total of 16 padas across the entire work. And within these padas, a staggering 191 distinct topics, or adhikaranas, are meticulously explored. Each one builds upon the last to create this comprehensive argument. This systematic layout isn't just for show, it's designed to guide you logically, step by step, through the intricate tapestry of Vedantic teachings.
Wow, 191 topics, so it's concise in words but vast in scope.
Exactly. Now, these 4 chapters aren't just arbitrary divisions, they follow a very logical progression. Think of them like stages on a well-defined intellectual journey. The first chapter is called Samanvaya, which translates roughly to reconciliation or harmony. Its primary purpose is to demonstrate how all the different threads of the Upanishads, which can sometimes appear diverse, maybe even seemingly contradictory on the surface, how they consistently point to one central, unified truth, Brahman. It's about unifying the message, revealing its inherent consistency, like finding a single melody woven through many different instruments in an orchestra, perhaps.
I like that analogy. Okay, so chapter 1, consistency.
Right. Then, moving to the second chapter, we find aviroda, meaning non-contradiction. Once Brahman is established as the central theme, this chapter meticulously ensures that this knowledge is logically sound and internally consistent. It vigorously defends the Vedantic viewpoint, showing its coherence and actively refuting other philosophical systems that might propose alternative ultimate realities or different paths to truth. It's the intellectual defense mechanism of the text, really, safeguarding the integrity of the Vedantic framework.
So it's shoring up the arguments.
Precisely. Then the third chapter is sadhana. This literally means spiritual practice, or means.
Right.
This is where the profound philosophy begins to touch down into practical application. It discusses the various steps, both inner and outer disciplines, from specific meditations to ethical conduct, that you would undertake to actually realize and directly experience this truth of Brahman. It delves into the concrete methods for spiritual growth, showing you how to bridge the gap between just intellectual understanding and direct perception.
Making it real, essentially.
Making it real. And finally, the fourth chapter, phala, meaning result or fruit. This chapter explores the ultimate outcome, the culmination of these dedicated spiritual practices. It delineates what liberation or moksha truly looks like. It differentiates between various forms of liberation, whether it's a gradual unfolding of understanding or an immediate transformative realization, painting a vivid picture of the ultimate freedom and fulfillment that the seeker is striving for.
Okay, so a logical progression. Consistency, non-contradiction, practice, and result. That makes sense. So with such a monumental and intricate structure, the question naturally arises. Why did Vyasa go to all this trouble? Why write something so profoundly intricate, so demanding of the reader? Well, there seem to be 3 main purposes, and if you listen closely, you'll hear how incredibly relevant they are even today. First, he wanted to extract the correct interpretation from the vastness of the Upanishads. Think of him like a master literary critic or maybe a legal scholar sifting through dense legal codes, ensuring that the true, intended message of those profound texts shines through, clear, undistorted, and free from misreading. He was cutting through potential confusion to reveal the essence.
Getting to the core meaning.
Exactly. Second, his aim was to defend this correct teaching from any misinterpretations or intellectual challenges. In ancient India, just like in our modern world, there were numerous philosophical schools, each with its own ideas, often competing. The Brahma Sutra acts as a rigorous defense of the Vedantic view, a fortress of logic protecting the core insights. And third, Vyasa's intention was to expose logical loopholes in those other philosophical systems. He wasn't just stating his case, he was critically examining and methodically refuting alternative viewpoints to demonstrate why the Vedantic perspective holds up to the most intense scrutiny, revealing where other systems fall short in their own reasoning.
A critical evaluation, yeah.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting for you right now. Think about how much information we consume daily. We are absolutely bombarded with data, opinions, complex ideas from every direction. How do we, in this deluge, discern correct interpretations from misinformation or, personal biases? How do we confidently defend our own understanding when confronted with opposing views, often presented aggressively online or in media?
Perhaps most crucially, how do we spot the loopholes and fallacies in arguments presented to us, whether they're from social media, news, or even academic discussions? The Brahma Sutra, this ancient text, offers an incredibly sophisticated and timeless playbook for developing true information literacy and critical thinking skills. It teaches us not just what to believe, but how to reason, analyze, and intellectually defend profound truths in a world saturated with noise. It's like a masterclass in intellectual self-defense.
Absolutely, and this goes way beyond mere intellectual exercise. While it's true that the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads are often considered sufficient for jnanam, true knowledge, and ultimately for moksha, or liberation, for many seekers, the Brahma Sutras add a layer of indispensable rigor. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Brahma Sutras are absolutely crucial for teachers, for advanced scholars, and especially for those who seek to dwell deeply and meticulously in these teachings, not just as believers, but as profound understanders. They provide a structured, logical approach, a systematic method for understanding, analyzing, and defending Vedantic truths. It's really about moving beyond mere acceptance or belief to a profound, logical conviction that has been thoroughly tested, internally consistent, and intellectually understood. It's about building a robust, unshakable internal framework for recognizing and understanding truth.
So it's about conviction, not just belief.
Precisely. Deep conviction rooted in reason.
Okay, so before we even get to the sutras themselves, the text lays out some pretty rigorous qualifications for who is truly prepared to undertake this deep dive. This isn't just about casually reading, it's about being prepared, both intellectually and, maybe even more importantly, spiritually, to truly absorb and integrate this profound knowledge. On the academic side, it suggests you should possess strong logic, grammar, and etymology skills. And perhaps even more daunting for many, it implies you should have already studied the 10 principal Upanishads. That's a significant prerequisite, suggesting a foundational level of engagement before approaching this master key.
That's a tall order for many, yeah.
It is. And this immediately challenges a very common modern assumption, that all profound knowledge should be immediately accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or prior preparation. It suggests that profound wisdom isn't a drive-through menu item or, a quick Google search result. It's a journey of readiness, requiring foundational learning and a certain intellectual and emotional maturity before one can truly appreciate its depths. It's a call for deliberate, structured learning and a readiness for transformation, rather than just superficial engagement. It really asks us to consider what real preparation means for any deep inquiry.
Precisely. That's a great point. But beyond academic prowess, which is certainly important for intellectual engagement, there's a profound inner preparation that the text emphasizes as even more critical. This isn't just a simple checklist, it's about a fundamental transformation of one's perspective, character, and mental disposition. These are known as the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, or the fourfold qualifications. Let's try to break them down in simpler terms and explore their relevance to your life today.
Okay, the fourfold qualifications. Let's hear them.
All right, first we have viveka. This is the ability to discriminate. At its heart, it's the keen insight to discern the eternal from the ephemeral, to truly tell what lasts from what is merely transient. Think about how many things in our lives we constantly chase: fleeting trends, accumulating possessions, temporary achievements, or even transient pleasures. Viveka is the profound capacity to see through the superficial glamour, to understand what has genuine, lasting value, what is truly real and unchanging, versus what will inevitably fade. It's like distinguishing solid gold from, fool's gold.
Seeing what's real versus what just glitters.
Exactly, and this raises an important question for you. In a world constantly chasing fleeting trends, instant gratification, and superficial achievements, how do we practice viveka? What does it mean for you to identify what truly lasts and what is merely passing? Is it the latest smartphone, the next career promotion, or something deeper about human connection, ethical integrity, or profound self-understanding? Where do you place your lasting value?
That's such a powerful challenge to our modern consumerist mindset, isn't it? And the second qualification builds directly on that insight: vairagya, or dispassion. Now, this is often misunderstood, I think. It's not about apathy or renouncing the world or becoming emotionless, not at all. It's about cultivating an inner detachment from the transient fruits of your actions. It's about viewing your efforts, your means, as means to a higher end, rather than becoming utterly consumed by the end result itself. So it's not about not doing things, but about not being attached to the outcome in such a way that your inner peace is held hostage by external results. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into a project, not solely for the promotion or the recognition, but for the inherent value of the work itself, for the joy of creating, for the problem you're solving, for the contribution you're making. You still do your absolute best, but your sense of self-worth and inner calm isn't dependent on whether it gets the exact response you desired. It's a profound shift in motivation, moving from ego-driven outcomes to value-driven action.
Exactly right. It's about freedom from outcome dependency. A very subtle but powerful shift. The third qualification, Shatka Sampati, encompasses 6 crucial inner disciplines that are designed to create profound inner stability and self-mastery. These aren't just abstract ideals from an ancient text. They are practical tools for mental and sensory control that are perhaps more vital today than ever before.
6 disciplines. Okay, let's break those down.
Let's quickly touch on these. First, shama, which means mind control. This is about mastering your own thoughts, not being a slave to every impulse, anxious rumination, or fleeting distraction that flits across your mind. It's about consciously directing your mental energy. Then there's dhammaha, or sense control. This means not being involuntarily driven by external sensory desires, not letting your senses dictate your actions, your choices, or your peace of mind, but rather directing them purposefully and judiciously.
Control of thoughts and senses. Makes sense.
Next up is uparama. This can be understood as withdrawal from external activities or distractions that aren't conducive to your ultimate goal. It's about consciously focusing inward, minimizing outward noise, and discerningly choosing what you engage with. Titiksha is forbearance, a deep inner resilience, the capacity to endure discomfort, challenges, or difficulties, both physical and mental, without complaint, with an inner strength that doesn't falter or lash out.
Resilience. That's huge to...
Immense. Then comes shraddha, which is faith. Now, this isn't blind belief, but a profound, reasoned trust. Trust in the efficacy of the teachings, trust in your teacher, trust in the scriptures, and ultimately, trust in the ultimate reality that these teachings point to. It's a deep conviction that the path being laid out is valid and will lead to the promised liberation. And finally, samadhana, concentration on the goal. This is about undivided attention, a laser-like focus on the pursuit of truth, ensuring your efforts are not scattered, but directed with singular, unwavering purpose.
Wow. Mind control, sense control, focus, resilience, faith, concentration.
Yeah.
That's a toolkit for life right there.
It really is. Consider the immense mental discipline required today just to avoid constant distraction from digital devices and social media, right? To maintain focus on meaningful goals amidst the incessant noise, and to cultivate genuine inner peace in our hyper-stimulated world. These aren't just ancient ideals from a distant culture. They are timeless blueprints for developing mental fortitude, emotional resilience, and profound inner calm. They are perhaps more critically relevant now than at any other point in human history. They are the tools for reclaiming your inner landscape.
Reclaiming your inner landscape. I like that. And that profound journey leads us to the 4th and final qualification, mokshutvam, the desire for moksha. This is described as a strong, unshakable yearning for liberation. It's far more than mere intellectual curiosity or a passing academic interest. It's a deep, existential inner drive for freedom from limitation, a profound hunger for understanding your true nature and breaking free from any sense of inadequacy, incompleteness, or perceived bondage. It's like a spiritual thirst that nothing else in the world, no amount of success or pleasure, can truly quench.
A deep, burning desire.
Exactly. This makes me reflect. What deep yearning truly drives you, listening right now? What's the ultimate freedom you seek in your life? And how might that connect to this ancient desire for liberation? Is it freedom from financial worry, freedom from self-doubt, freedom from societal expectations, or perhaps freedom from the very idea of limitation itself? These aren't just theoretical questions. These qualifications prompt us to consider our deepest motivations and the ultimate purpose of our pursuits.
Very well put. It forces a deep self-reflection.
Okay, let's unpack this. If the Brahma Sutra were a massive, intricate building designed to reveal ultimate truth, these first 4 sutras would be its absolute bedrock. They form the complete blueprint, the entire unshakable foundation upon which everything else rests. In Vedantic tradition, they are considered the complete and comprehensive essence of Vedanta, encapsulated in just a handful of incredibly powerful words. It's a bold claim, but the profound understanding is that the remaining 551 sutras are essentially an elaboration, a detailed magnification, and in-depth commentary on these first 4 foundational statements. Everything else expands on their initial, profound insights.
Indeed. They contain the seed of the entire teaching. Let's dive into the first one, the very opening declaration. Sutra 1, Atato Brahma Jignasa. This translates to, now therefore, the inquiry into Brahman. This opening aphorism is far more than just an introductory phrase. It's an invitation, a powerful declaration of intent, signaling a momentous shift. The now, therefore, isn't a casual aside, it carries immense weight. It implies that you've achieved those rigorous qualifications we just discussed, the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampati. You've done the inner work, you're intellectually prepared, you're spiritually oriented, and now because of that readiness, you are truly ready for this profound and transformative inquiry. It means you've earned the right to ask the ultimate question.
So that therefore refers back to all that preparation.
Exactly. And this sutra implicitly establishes what's called the Anubandha Chatushtayam, the fourfold qualifications of a spiritual text itself, ensuring its purpose and audience are clear from the outset. First, there's the adhikari, the competent student, that's you, the seeker, equipped with those four inner disciplines and a sincere, burning desire for moksha. Second is the vishaya, the subject matter, which is Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Brahman, as the ultimate, all-encompassing reality. This knowledge promises a liberation, a higher status for the seeker, far beyond any worldly achievement or fleeting success. It's the knowledge that truly frees.
The ultimate knowledge.
Right. Third, we have the prayojanam, the benefit or ultimate goal, which is moksha, liberation. Now, this liberation isn't about gaining something new as if you were lacking something. Instead, it's about negating the misconception of an Abrahman status, eliminating the false, ingrained sense of limitation, inadequacy, and bondage that we often carry. It's the cessation of our perceived individualistic suffering, our jivatva nivriti, ending the belief in a separate, limited self, and samsara nivriti, ending the cycle of suffering.
Okay, so it's about removing a misconception, not adding something. This is beautifully illustrated by that classic rope snake analogy that Vedanta frequently uses, isn't it? Imagine walking in dim light and you mistake a coiled rope for a dangerous venomous snake. You immediately feel intense fear, a sense of grave limitation, and urgency to escape. But the moment someone shines a light and you realize the snake is just a rope, the fear and the sense of danger immediately disappear. The rope was always a rope, but the mistake created the bondage. Moksha, in this context, is precisely that moment of realizing your true, unlimited nature, where the illusion of being a limited individual is dispelled, not by changing anything external, but by correcting a fundamental error in perception. It's the profound shift from perceived bondage to inherent freedom.
Exactly, a perfect analogy. And finally, the fourth implicit qualification is sambandha, the relationship. This is the intrinsic, inseparable connection between Brahman, the ultimate reality, and the Upanishads, which are the very revelation, the very utterance of this truth. The scriptures are not merely talking about Brahman, they are, in a sense, the manifest form of its knowledge.
Okay, so the student, the subject, the goal, and the source text, all set up in that first line. So this isn't just a matter of casual intellectual curiosity, is it? The sutra emphasizes that this is a profound deliberation on Brahman specifically for self-knowledge. It's not about gathering facts about some external entity like studying a distant star. It's about a deep, transformative, introspective self-enquiry undertaken with the help of a guru and shastra vichara, meaning guided scriptural analysis. It highlights that this journey isn't meant to be undertaken in isolation or purely through self-effort. It requires experience, guidance, and a systematic, time-honored approach to sacred texts to truly penetrate their meaning.
Absolutely. Guidance is key. And this raises an important question for you, our listener. In an era of instant information, countless self-help gurus, and a pervasive emphasis on do-it-yourself approaches, what's the enduring value of a guided inquiry into self-knowledge? One supported by tradition, mentorship, and systematic scriptural analysis. What does it truly mean to move beyond superficial understanding, which often just scratches the surface, to a deep, transformative realization that fundamentally alters your perception of reality and your place within it? It's a call for depth, commitment, and discernment over mere breadth or quick fixes.
Depth over breadth. Okay, let's move to the second sutra.
Right. Sutra 2, Janmadhyasya Yata. This means that from which the birth, etc. of this universe proceed. Now, this sutra provides a crucial definition of Brahman, but it's what we call a tatastha lakshanam, an incidental definition. This is a key concept. It means it describes Brahman not by its intrinsic, unchangeable nature, which is often beyond words and concepts, but by its external attributes, by what it does in relation to the world we experience.
Okay, so defining it by its effects, essentially.
Pretty much. And what it does is monumental. This sutra emphatically states that Brahman is the ultimate, singular cause for the entire universe's origin, janma, its sustenance, sthiti, and its eventual dissolution, life.
Origin, sustenance, dissolution, the whole cosmic cycle.
The entire cycle. Brahman is quite literally the beginning, the middle, and the end of all that we perceive, all that exists, and all that ceases to exist. It's the cosmic principle of creation, preservation, and destruction.
So why incidental? Why that specific term?
Well, because the universe, being temporary, constantly changing, and ultimately an appearance or manifestation, is considered an external or non-intrinsic feature of Brahman. It's like defining the sun by the light it casts and the warmth it provides, which are effects we perceive, even though the sun's true nature is a complex thermonuclear furnace, much more profound than just light and heat. The incidental definition allows us, from our limited perspective, to move from the known, the universe we experience every moment, to the unknown, the ultimate reality of Brahman, by observing its undeniable effects and causal rules. It's a bridge from the empirical to the transcendental.
A bridge built from observation. Okay. This sutra is a foundational logical step then because it establishes the very existence of Brahman, right? It provides its primary identification by attributing these universal, all-encompassing causal roles to it. It's essentially saying, look at the universe in all its complexity and order. It must have an ultimate cause, a sustainer, and a force for its dissolution. That ultimate principle, that fundamental reality, is Brahman. It's a deeply compelling argument from design and existence.
It is. And what's truly fascinating here, and a profound distinction unique to Vedanta, is that it singularly posits that the conscious Brahman, Chaitanya Brahman, is both the intelligent, Nimitta Karana, and the material, Upadana Karana, a cause of the universe.
Both. Intelligent and material cause. How does that work?
Exactly. This is a fundamental challenge to many other philosophical viewpoints and even to some scientific models. Many philosophies separate the intelligent creator, think of a divine architect or sculptor, from the raw material, the clay or stone. They might say a potter, intelligent cause, makes a pot out of clay, material cause. But Vedanta asserts that Brahman is both the potter and the clay. It is the consciousness that wills the universe into being and the very substance, the very fabric from which the universe is made. This directly challenges creation stories, religious doctrines, or even scientific models that tend to separate mind from matter or the creator from the creation. It's a radical, unifying vision of reality.
Wow. Potter and clay. That's mind-bending. This isn't just a philosophical debate, it's a paradigm shift. If we accept a single conscious source for everything, not just an intelligent designer, but the very substance of reality itself, how might that profoundly reshape our understanding of nature, consciousness, and our place in the cosmos? What does this mean for our sense of interconnectedness, knowing that we are not separate from the Creator, but intrinsically made of the same conscious stuff? Every atom, every experience, every thought is inherently imbued with this ultimate conscious reality. This dissolves the artificial barrier between the observer and the observed, making our own consciousness not just a part of the universe, but a direct reflection of its fundamental nature. It's a deeply unifying, indeed non-dualistic concept that can transform our entire perspective.
It truly can. A profound implication. Okay, let's move to Sutra 3. Shastrayan Vat. This asserts the scripture being the source of right knowledge. This sutra makes a bold and, for many modern thinkers, a potentially challenging declaration. Brahman is known solely through the scriptures, specifically the Vedas and Upanishads, and not through any other means of knowledge like direct perception, logical inference, or even intuition alone. This is an epistemological cornerstone of Vedanta.
Solely through scripture. That's a really big assumption, especially for modern thought, which often prioritizes empirical evidence, direct sensory experience, or pure reason as the ultimate arbiters of truth. This sutra seems to be saying you can't see Brahman with your eyes or deduce it perfectly with your brain alone or arrive at it through scientific experiment. It's pushing back against the idea that the ultimate reality can be grasped by finite instruments or limited intellect alone.
Exactly. It confirms that the ultimate truth about Brahman transcends our ordinary means of knowing. And it also powerfully confirms the omniscience, Sarvagetvam, of Brahman. The logic here is profound. Since Brahman is the source, yoni of the Vedas, which are considered to contain all knowledge, both manifest and unmanifest, Brahman itself must inherently possess omniscience. The one who manifests such an exhaustive and eternal body of knowledge like the Vedas naturally knows infinitely more than what is even expressed within it. And to be clear, Brahman did not create the Vedas in the intellectual sense, like writing them down as an author would. Rather, the Vedas are considered eternal and uncreated, anadi, aparishya, and Brahman manifested them, revealed them, as they inherently exist in the cosmic order.
Okay, so Brahman knows everything because it's the source of the scriptures which contain all knowledge. And it didn't write them, but revealed them. So if scripture is the sole source, is logic entirely out the window then? Is it just blind faith?
Not quite. Not blind faith. This sutra emphasizes that scripture is the primary means, pramanam, for knowing Brahman. Logic, or reason, serves a crucial secondary supportive role. It helps us understand and confirm Vedic teachings, resolve apparent contradictions within them, and refute opposing arguments. It's a powerful tool for clarity and defense. But it's not meant to propound entirely new philosophies or discover Brahman independently of the revealed texts. It functions more like a skilled attorney dissecting a legal document rather than writing a new law from scratch.
Logic supports, but doesn't lead in knowing Brahman. Got it.
Precisely. And this raises an important question for you, the thoughtful listener. In a world that so highly values empirical evidence, the scientific method, and individual reason as the supreme path to truth, what's the role of traditional, revealed knowledge? How do we balance our internal inquiry and our own reasoning with external authoritative sources, especially those considered sacred or ultimate truth? It's a fundamental tension between ancient wisdom and modern epistemology, challenging us to consider the limits of our own instruments of knowing.
That's a question to sit with, for sure. Okay, the fourth sutra.
And finally, rounding out these foundational four, we have Sutra 4, Tatu Samanvayat. This states, but that Brahman is known from the Upanishads, it being the object of their fullest import. This sutra solidifies the entire point of the first chapter, the Samanvaya Adhyaya, which, as we mentioned, is all about reconciliation and harmony. It firmly establishes that Brahman is the central, consistent, and overarching theme, Tat Paryavishayam, of all Vedantic texts, without exception. All roads lead to Brahman, essentially.
Okay, so it hammers home the consistency point. And the little word to but in the sutra, you said that's significant.
Very significant. It's not just a conjunction, it signals the direct negation of objections from other philosophical schools. For example, the Purva Mimamsa school might argue that the Vedas are primarily about rituals and actions, not the knowledge of Brahman. Or the Sankhya school, which posits a different ultimate principle as the source of the universe. This sutra directly confronts those alternative interpretations, asserting with logical force that all of the Upanishads ultimately, definitively point to Brahman as their core message. It's like saying, but despite other claims, this is the real focus.
Okay, the but is like a refutation built right in.
Exactly. And to rigorously prove this consistency across diverse texts, the Brahma Sutra outlines Shadlingas, or 6 indicators of interpretative harmony. These are like a master linguist's or perhaps a legal scholar's meticulously developed tools for finding the true central intent of any complex text, ensuring the interpretation isn't arbitrary, but is rigorously derived from the text itself.
6 tools for interpretation, what are they?
Okay, let me briefly explain these powerful tools. First, Upakarma Upasamhara. This involves checking the beginning and concluding statements of a passage for thematic consistency. Do they frame the same central idea? Start and end should match. Then there's Abhyasa, which is repetition. If a concept is repeated frequently throughout a text, it's highly likely to be central to its message. Pretty straightforward. Apravada refers to uniqueness. If a knowledge or concept cannot be gained by any other means, like perception or inference, then the scripture is its unique and primary source, highlighting its importance. If only the text tells you this, it's probably key.
Uniqueness. Okay.
Phulam, the result or benefit mentioned, directly points to the purpose of the teaching. What good does it do? Arthavada is eulogy or commendation, where the text praises the subject, indicating its significance. If it's highly praised, it's important. And finally, upapati, which refers to reasoning and logical consistency within the narrative itself. Does it make sense internally? By applying these 6 indicators, Vedantic scholars demonstrate with undeniable intellectual rigor that Brahman is, without doubt, the central and ultimate meaning of the Upanishads. It's a systematic way to extract the undeniable core message.
Wow, that's incredibly methodical. Upakama, Upasamara, Abhyasa, Apurvada, Phulam, Arthavada, Upapati. This directly highlights the rigorous critical process built into Vedanta. It's not just about asserting a truth, is it? It's about demonstrating its consistency across vast scriptures and meticulously refuting alternative interpretations. It's about showing why Brahman is the central meaning, not just stating that it is. This is an incredible display of intellectual honesty and thoroughness, a true masterclass in textual interpretation.
It really is. And think about how you analyze complex documents, scientific papers, or even conflicting news reports today. The Shadlinguses offer a powerful, systematic framework for identifying the central message and rejecting misleading or secondary interpretations. It's a masterclass in discerning truth amidst noise, even in our modern information landscape, where separating signal from static is an ever-present challenge. It trains your mind to look for the core argument, the consistent thread.
A 2,000-year-old toolkit for media literacy. Amazing.
Yeah.
So we've talked about these sutras being incredibly terse, right? They're defined by having few words, alpa aksharam, an unambiguous meaning, a sandignam, being full of essence, saryukta, having many facets, vishwatomukam, being free from unnecessary parts, stubam, and being defect-free, and avadyam. That sounds like a perfect, pristine package of truth. But paradoxically, their very terseness and profound conciseness can and does lead to different interpretations among various schools of Vedantic thought themselves, like Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Dvaita. That seems contradictory.
It does seem contradictory on the surface. This is a crucial point, and it raises an important question. How can something be described as unambiguous and defect-free, yet give rise to distinct interpretations that, while all stemming from Vedanta, have subtle but significant differences? The underlying assumption, I think, is that the fundamental meaning, the core truth the sutra points to, is indeed clear. However, the implications, the elaborations, and the finer nuances of those truths require deeper guidance and detailed explanation, hence the need for interpretation. The sutra provides the seed, you see, but the commentaries show how the tree grows, and different commentaries might emphasize different aspects of that growth.
Okay. The core is unambiguous, but the implications need unpacking.
Exactly. Because of this inherent density and the need to fully unlock their meaning, bhashyams, or commentaries, are absolutely essential. They are the comprehensive, often multi-volume explanations that fill in the blanks, provide the necessary context, and meticulously clarify the meaning of each aphorism, often word by word. A truly famous and foundational example is Shankara's Shariraka Mimamsa Bhashyam. It's also renowned for establishing Nirvisesha Advaitam, or unqualified non-dualism. This monumental commentary meticulously explains every single word of the sutras, unraveling their profound implications and powerfully defending the Advaita non-dual perspective. Without these deep scholarly commentaries, the sutras would largely remain inaccessible, just profound puzzles to the average seeker.
Like needing a manual for a very complex, powerful tool.
Precisely.
This is so relevant to how we deal with any foundational text today. Whether it's legal codes, complex scientific papers, ancient philosophical treatises, or even policy documents. Terse, dense information requires expert commentary and interpretation to be fully understood, applied correctly, and integrated into a broader framework. It's a powerful reminder that interpretation isn't a flaw in knowledge acquisition, but a crucial, dynamic, and often collaborative part of it. We frequently rely on subject matter experts to explain a complex document, right? And this ancient wisdom tradition is no different, perhaps even more so given the profound transformative nature of its subject matter. It highlights the role of tradition and scholarship in understanding.
Very true. And a significant part of the Brahma Sutra's enduring power and intellectual legacy lies not just in stating Vedantic truth, but in its direct engagement with, and often rigorous refutation of, other competing philosophical systems of its time. It's not about stating Vedantic truth in isolation, but also demonstrating why other views are logically incomplete, ultimately insufficient, or simply flawed in their assumptions. The sutras particularly focus on systems that propose an inert or achetana material cause for the universe, meaning a cause that is unconscious and unintelligent. Sankhya philosophy, with its concept of prakriti, an unconscious primordial matter, is a prime example that the sutras frequently address. Sankhya suggests the universe emerges from this unconscious, mechanistic, primordial matter.
Okay, so Sankhya says unconscious matter is the source. Vedanta disagrees. How do the sutras argue against that?
Well, let's look at some specific examples of this profound intellectual critique and refutation to see how the sutras dismantle these opposing views. One excellent instance is found in the Ikshatiadhyadikaranam, spanning Sutras 511. This section argues, with meticulous logic, that the ultimate sat existence, mentioned in the Upanishads as the cause of creation, must absolutely be a conscious entity or chetnam. Why? Because the Upanishads describe this ultimate cause as visualizing, seeing, or willing creation, using terms like it thought, may I be many, may I grow forth. An inert, unconscious padhana, as proposed by Sankhya, simply cannot will anything. It cannot concede, it cannot intend, it cannot desire. Consciousness, therefore, is inherent in the very act of creation itself, the fundamental animating principle. The universe doesn't blindly unfold, it is intelligently, consciously willed into being.
So the argument is, the scriptures say the source thought or willed, therefore it must be conscious. Inert stuff can't think.
Precisely, it's a direct textual and logical refutation.
This is a fundamental point of divergence, a true clash of philosophical titans. It's saying the universe wasn't just a cosmic accident or a blind mechanistic material unfolding, driven by unconscious forces like a machine. Instead, there was a conscious intent, a will, a seeing behind its very manifestation. What does that imply for us if the very fabric of existence began with consciousness? It gives a completely different meaning to our own consciousness, our own experiences of will and purpose. It suggests that consciousness isn't an emergent property of matter, but perhaps matter is an emergent property of consciousness. This is a radical reorientation of our fundamental assumptions about reality.
It really is. Similarly, in the Anandamaya's Sutras 1219, Vyasa clarifies with great precision that the Anandamaya, the blissful self, referred to in the Taittiriya Upanishad, is not a mere kosha, a sheath or layer of the self, like the physical body or the mental body, nor is it some finite limited entity. Instead, it is unequivocally declared to be Para-Brahman itself. This clarification is crucial because it emphasizes Brahman's absolute independence, its supreme nature, and its ultimate reality over any dependent, temporary, or limited aspect of existence. It's about recognizing the ultimate unconditioned source of bliss, not just a conditioned manifestation of it.
So the blissful self isn't just a happy feeling or a part of us, it is the ultimate reality, Brahman.
According to Shankara's interpretation of these sutras, yes.
This is a powerful move, challenging the assumption that even seemingly blissful aspects of our human experience could be limited or temporary. It's pushing us to look for the ultimate source of bliss, the infinite, unconditioned joy that is Brahman, not just an aspect of it, which might still be subject to change or cessation. It makes us ask a profound question. Where is true, unchanging, absolute bliss to be found? Is it in fleeting pleasures or in something that underlies all existence?
Exactly. And the systematic refutation continues in numerous other adhikaranams throughout the sutras. For example, in sections like the Akasadhikaranam or Pranadhikaranam, seemingly simple or common terms found in the Upanishads, such as akasha, space, or prana, life breath, are meticulously and systematically interpreted to refer exclusively to Brahman, whether in its qualified saguna or unqualified nirguna aspect. This is a critical interpretative move. It directly counters other interpretations that would reduce these terms to mere material elements, individual souls, jivas, or specific deities within a pantheon. The sutras consistently recenter Brahman as the ultimate overarching meaning and reference point, thereby avoiding a fragmented, polytheistic, or materialistic understanding of reality. It's about unifying all diverse scriptural statements under one supreme truth. Everything points back to Brahman.
So even words like space or breath are ultimately pointing to Brahman in this context. That's comprehensive. So what does this all mean for us today, trying to make sense of a complex world? This rigorous, critical approach in the Brahma Sutras teaches us to look beyond superficial interpretations, to always seek the underlying unifying principle behind phenomena, and to question assumptions that might reduce profound truths to simpler, less complete, or merely material explanations. It's a powerful lesson in intellectual rigor, reminding us that true understanding often requires us to delve deeper, challenge our initial, often reductionist impulses, and to understand the sophisticated logical arguments that underpin profound philosophical systems. It's about discerning the whole picture, not just its parts.
Well said. Intellectual rigor and seeing the unifying whole. Hashtag tag outro.
We've journeyed through the intricate and frankly profound landscape of the Brahma Sutra. We've explored it not just as an ancient text, but as a rigorous logical framework designed to bring undeniable clarity and conviction to profound spiritual truths. We've seen how it meticulously establishes Brahman as the singular, conscious, omniscient, and ultimate cause of the entire universe, not just its intelligent designer, but its very fabric, potter and clay. And perhaps most importantly, we've understood how it meticulously guides the seeker you through inner and outer preparation towards the realization of this truth as the path to ultimate liberation and freedom from perceived limitations.
In essence, the Brahma Sutra truly acts like that master key we mentioned at the start. It unlocks the complex lock of Upanishadic wisdom. It reveals the consistent and unified teaching of Brahman, providing a clarity and conviction that transcends simple belief, moving into the realm of deep, logical understanding and potential personal realization. It's a text designed to solidify spiritual insight with undeniable intellectual integrity, giving you the tools to understand why this truth stands.
So if the Brahma Sutra compels us to discriminate between the eternal and the ephemeral, to seek a conscious cause for all existence, and maybe to rely on a specific source and method for ultimate knowledge, then for you, listening now, what is your master key? What framework, what set of practices, what guiding principles help you distinguish true, lasting wisdom from fleeting information and superficial trends in your own life? And what fundamental assumptions are you willing to challenge in your relentless pursuit of deeper understanding and genuine freedom?
That's a powerful reflection to end on.
That's something to ponder long after our deep dive ends. We hope this exploration has given you a shortcut to being well-informed and maybe sparked a desire for your own even deeper inquiry.